All right, I'm going to start with my prayer. Divine oneness of being that man calls God, ascended masters and teachers, our own personal guides and overlighting angels, guides who overlight, circle of light, and all of us individually and collectively. Thank you for coming in closely this time as we gather here today to shed light upon our individual and collective paths and more to be. So, one person asked in the comments, what's the karma of U.S.? Another person asks, why? What's going on? What's really going on? Why is everyone so angry? So first thing I'm going to do is see what comes up in the cards. I have some ideas of it. I actually put it off a day. I mean, something did come up last night. One of the things I did with my son, we watched this fantastic anime from 1988 called Akira. Whether you're a fan of anime or not, it's a fantastic movie. It won all kinds of awards for the animation. Also has a metaphysical undertone. Not all that subtle. All right. It's Akira, Akira. All right. What is the karma of the United States? Anything you can show us that we don't already know? One more time. All right, cut. Magician. Fantastic. First card's Magician. Three of Cups. Is it a creation celebration? Judgment. Oh, baby. Queen of Pentacles. Thank goodness. Page of Pentacles in the conscious mind. King of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles in the past, King of Pentacles in the future, Page of Pentacles in the conscious mind, Ace of Pentacles. Oh my goodness. Ace of Pentacles in the position of you or us. Queen of Swords. Oh, baby. Perfect. The Hermit. And the Emperor. Wow. We got the Emperor as the final outcome or what sums it all up. Okay. Here's the deal, America. My summation of this is get right with your history and heal the stuff from your past. And that's when you're able to claim the empty throne. The emperor says, there's this empty throne waiting for you to sit in it and claim your authority. Instead, you're letting some other person, instead of being like a representative of the people, you're letting this person speak for you, and it's not authentic. If the current president were speaking for the majority of people, there wouldn't be all the unrest and anger. Okay? Now, these pentacles, man, are something else. A lot of people say, pentacles is coins, is money. Well, pentacles is the physical world. And to me, a major part of that is health and healing. So, what's going on in the world is and to answer Nancy's question, I would call it healing karma. The karma of healing. So let's start at the beginning. A very good place to start. The magician. The magician is card number 1. So he is an activator of card 0, the fool. The fool's potential energy, the magician initiates or puts that energy into action through the activity, the action of creation. The magician says, you have all the tools you need in front of you. He has that table, okay, with the tools in front of him. You don't need to read books on how to do it or figure something out. Just create, do it. And that's a celebration, because with that magician is the 3 of Cups, a celebration. Another thing the magician tells us, because you know how he has a white robe with the white or red over it, right? He can move in and out of the lower realms, the physical realm, the red, at will. So that's the antidote to being entrapped in what you think is real. Okay? So don't let yourself get trapped in what you think is real, the illusion. And I like the word acceptance. Accept that what you see in front of you is what's really happening. Quit making excuses. Whether you're making excuses for, armed police in the streets, or making excuses for some certain person. Accept that what you see is real. History repeats itself. People like to say things like history repeats itself. History repeats itself when you don't learn. That's called karma. Karma will bash you on the head with its baseball bat until you learn. Okay. Below you is judgment. Has nothing to do with being judged. Has everything to do with awakening. Okay. This is when Angel Gabriel blows his horn to awaken all the souls, to be reunited with God, blah, 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 blah. So what does this mean in your personal spiritual life? It's your spirit guides going, wakey, wakey, time to get up and do what you came here for. I don't want to. Let the orange moron run it for me so I can just say I was an innocent bystander. No, man. Take responsibility. So 2 big cards of answering the call, whether it's the call of Angel Gabriel and his horn, or whether it's the throne and the emperor, that's a big, big significator of doing what you came here to do. Assuming your role that you have been neglecting or denying yourself. Okay? I like that a lot. So, judgment below you. The card below you is usually what wants to be revealed or come forth. It's in the subconscious. It hasn't manifested yet. And what's between that is the magician, the initiator, the one who does the manifesting. And above you is the Page of Pentacles. So remember, pages are like teenagers. They're often like having a growth spurt. I would say America's in a growth spurt right now. We're having growing pains. Or you might use the metaphor of peeling a Band-Aid off. Like, okay, you've been hiding this festering wound. Let's talk about what that wound is. I was going to wait till I was done with the cards, but I want to talk about it. The wound, our karma. Anybody want to guess? Slavery. Slaughter of natives. Slaughter of buffalo. Genocide. That is the karma that is coming to the surface. We need to reckon with our past. If, after the Civil War, the U.S. would have done what Germany did after World War II, this wouldn't be happening. If we would say Confederate flags are illegal. You can fly a Nazi flag in the U.S. because of the First Amendment, freedom of speech. You want to put a Nazi flag on your window or something, on your flagpole, you can. In Germany, you cannot. Because of what it represents. The Confederate flag is not about good old boys. The Confederate flag is about the Confederacy. The ones who want to leave, the ones who don't want to be a part of America. And I could go on about that all day about what the Confederate flag really represents. The people who say, well, we're preserving our way of life. Which way of life is that? The slavery one or the misogyny one? I mean, pick whatever. You know, and even like, not slavery. I mean, that's obviously wrong, right? Well, then the indentured servitude, because not only did we have African slaves, we had Irish and other people who were just damn near slaves. So anyway, I have in my own intuition and in the cards to me are showing me that the wound we are healing, or that the wound that is being brought to the surface, that's being brought to our attention to heal, is the one of the history that's being ignored. Queen of Pentacles, the healer. In the past, like her presence. So like it's easier for me to talk about this as if it's one person. So when I say you, I really mean all of us. So like if this was one person, I'd say, so your healing aspect of you is coming forward saying, hey, we need to do some work. Well, what kind of work? We just went over it. And then the future, the King of Pentacles, is the mastery of that. And the Ace of Pentacles in the placement of you is the initiation. So 2 cards of initiation, the Magician at the center and Ace of Pentacles in you. That's humongous. That's 2 ones. That's a 1 and an ace, okay? That's a 1 of Pentacles and the 1 of the major tarot cards. After the Ace of Pentacles, the initiation of healing, is the Queen of Swords. Healthy boundaries is one of the main features of the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords says, welcome to my kingdom, or queendom, whatever. Welcome to my place. Got all kinds of cool stuff to do here. But I'm just asking that when you're in my kingdom, you obey these few basic rules. And if you can't do those basic things, then go bother one of the other 8 billion people in the world. Okay? So, one of the main features to me for the Queen of Swords, and she says, I would say like matter-of-factly, not threateningly, she says, and if you want to stick around and not obey the rules, I will use this sword. Not as a threat, but just like with a little kid, you tell them what the consequences are. If you spill that, you will have to clean it up. If you cross me, I will use a sword. So it's time, I believe, for us to express our boundaries. Like, you are not allowed to, think of basic human rights, like the slavery thing. An easy example for me is men, because I'm a man. If I'm in a situation where a man's going, man, I'd fuck that shit out of her, I'd be like, what if that was your wife and I said that? Straighten yourself out. Be a man. Don't be a fucking twerp. Okay? That's the kind of boundaries I'm talking about. Boundaries are for ourselves. Rules are for others. And a boundary for me is, you don't talk like that around me. I can't put a rule on you and say you can't do it ever again. I'm not your mom or the government. But what I can say is, when you're around me, you respect people, especially women. That's a boundary that we need to enforce. And somebody says, well, who are you to tell me that? I'm me. You don't need an explanation. I am who I am. That's all that matters. And those are my boundaries. Well, F you. You can leave, or you can accept my terms. That's my boundary. Now, if we're in a public place, maybe I have to do the leaving. But you see my point? Point being, call it out. The hermit, not about hiding. A lot of, the hermit, yeah, lad, that's me. I stay home and, read my tarot cards and I don't go anywhere because I don't like people. I can't stand. No, no, no. That's not the hermit. That's the reversed hermit. That's a perverted hermit. That is the unmanifested, unfinished, incomplete hermit. The complete hermit, the hermit goes up the mountain. The hermit's in the village and sees a problem in himself or the village, okay? Says, I need an answer for this. Goes up the mountain to his cave, meditates, does not stay there, comes back and shares with the village his insight. And there might be people that say, well, that's stupid or whatever. Well, your insight's not for them then. It's for the people who want to listen. The Emperor, the last card says, assume the throne. The throne's there waiting for you to sit in it. Sit in it. Take responsibility for your empire. How appropriate, the Empire of America, the biggest empire in the world right now. So there's your karma. There's what we need to do. What else did I have written down? Another way that this this way of life, let's use that term. Well, we got to preserve our way of life. Here's something I noticed in America. The cowboy mythos. Cowboys, the era of cowboys was short. But why do we glorify cowboys? Because we greatly value that individualism, being tough. At the local school here in town, one of the schools, they had on their board for I think the whole school year last year, we are resilient, we bounce back. And I thought, man, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say I understand your intention, but that's not good. I don't want to be resilient. I want to be at peace. People who are at peace are not necessarily pacifists. People who are at peace don't bounce back and forth all the time. People who are at peace, like that meditation Karen shared Sunday that I recorded for service, the power of being at peace. You are the most steadfast, steady, secure person in the room when you're at peace. It does not mean you're necessarily a pacifist. Peaceful people could be pacifists, but not this one. So I think that cowboy mythos is an example of how we glorify what is really a terrible, horrible phase of the country and the world. When white people came to this land and just slaughtered anybody who didn't comply. Let's just say it the way it is. They slaughtered, pushed out, like, you're going to move from New Jersey, you're going to walk to Oklahoma, and if you don't like it, I'll kill you and your family. Well, I guess I'll start walking then, because I kind of want to live. Anger. Anger is always secondary. Anger doesn't exist by itself. So what are people angry about? They're angry about, let's say if I am one of those people who clings to the cowboy myth, I'm angry that you're trying to bust my myth. I'm angry you're trying to bust. So what does the myth is a belief. I believe in this red, white, and blue rap. This is this glorified red, white, and blue version of America. Well, baby, I understand those ideals. But the truth is, we slaughtered, our ancestors slaughtered, massacred, I don't know, millions. I don't know the history. Millions of people. I'm sure it's millions. We need to reckon with that. We enslaved millions of people. We killed people who didn't comply. Does that sound familiar? I'll tell you, it's funny if there's another person here, but I want to tell you this joke. A, to lighten it up, and B, to make my point. Did I ever tell you my Nazi joke? No, what is it? Knock, knock. Who's there? We ask the questions! You're welcome. You can use that. Over the past several years, I have had times of being overwhelmed, and I know you have too. Some of you have told me directly, some of you have posted it, social media, etc., and you can just feel it in the air. People get overwhelmed with all the nonsense going on. I want to remind you that when a certain person was running for office, one of his little minions said that's what they're going to do. They're going to flood the zone. We're going to flood the zone. They want you to be overwhelmed. So one of the most powerful and empowering things you can do is be at peace and not let yourself get overwhelmed. So I encourage you, if that's what you want, go to that recording from the service on Sunday. Use that meditation. Tell me what you get from it. Put it in the comments. A friend of mine brought this up recently again, something that comes up, time to time. I can't meditate. Well, you can't meditate in this certain way that maybe I think, that I visualize meditation. Okay, cool. You can go for a walk in nature. You can do other things to get yourself out of your head. Talk to somebody. Don't talk to somebody. Whatever you need. Be honest about what you need for your peace and happiness. Knowing that will change. What I need right now, like sometimes I've been in the house too long, I need to be around people. But most times I don't. But sometimes I do. I want to point out the difference between being overwhelmed in a crowd and true connection. Because I said recently, and I still haven't completely distilled this idea, but between intuition and observation of the world, I came up with women will save the world. America for sure, probably the world. Women will save the world, and art will be the language in which that is done. So, go to an art museum. Go somewhere else, man. One of my favorite movies is Dead Poet Society with Robin Williams. I think one of the boys from that cast made it pretty big, but I don't think any of the rest did, if I remember correctly. Anyway, there's that famous scene where they stand on their desks. So I encourage you to stand on your desk, meditate, go outside, whatever you need to do to change your perspective, to get out of your head, to see things for what they really are, and especially yourself. I encourage you, be true to yourself, man. Above and beyond everything else, be true to yourself. And again, what that means will change, because you will change. All right, I've yacked enough. Questions, comments, concerns, please put it in the comments. And peace and love until next time.